UFC 311 is the first pay-per-view of 2025, and it kicks the year off with an absolute bang. We have 2 title fights and a whole bunch of really fun matchups. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC 311 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. Before we jump into it, let's take a look at how many bets I already have on the board. Depending when you're watching this, it might be a little early, and that's great because that's how we get ahead of the line movement. I've already got 5 future bets on the board between UFC Vegas 101 and UFC 311. 4 total units out the door, 3 parlays, 2 money lines, and I got a whole bunch of stuff going for these upcoming cards. And you can check out every single one of those picks and bets right now on our app. Yes, we released an app. Right now it's iOS only. We're working on the Android version. Relax, Android people, relax. Just the way the sign-in works, Apple was the way to go for now. Either way, go to the App Store, search We Want Picks, download the app. We have like 1,900 downloads so far. App is 100% free. Click a few buttons, boom, it's right there on your phone. Push notifications. Anything you need heading into a fight week, anything you need on a week off, right there in the app. Check it out now for free on the App Store. I'm on quite the streak here, and I don't want to derail the streak. I don't want to slow down. We can't take any breaks. We can't break the rhythm. Going into the UFC hiatus, we'll call it, couple of weeks between fights here. So we're breaking down fights every week. I'm giving you picks. I'm giving you bets every single week, regardless of if there is an event or not. And the reason I don't want to break that streak or break that cadence, I don't want to stop my research, I don't want to stop the flow of what I got going on, is because I'm absolutely crushing it. I have hit 9 of the last 10 safety parlays at a 69% ROI. The last 15 fight cards that I sat here and broke down for you, I had a 24% ROI. Profitable in almost every single one of them. 13.75 units of net profit on this wild hot streak. You can unlock every single pick, bet, and tool right now. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's only $10 for an entire month. I'm emphasizing the tools as well because right now during the break is the most important time. Right now is when you can get ahead of the line movement. There's the normal casual fans that'll just bet on fights on a Friday or Saturday while they're watching. Then there's the middle of the road fans that are betting on fights a week ahead of time after they watch the videos. And then there's us, the diehard fans, the ones that don't stop, don't take breaks, that are betting on fights weeks, if not months in advance. These breakdowns, premium membership will help you with that, as will the tools. The data analyzer has all the data, insight, tape study, and everything else you could ever need for a fight card, and it is built out for the future. The entire UFC 311 card is loaded in there. You can do your own tape study. You can look at all the stats. You can add your filters and do all the stuff. You also have instant access to the line movement tracker. This is going to give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and line movement for every fighter on every card. Once we have a fight week going, the Prop Hunter will help you find those prop bets. It is fully loaded with a set of curated data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. And of course, this is a pay-per-view. So we will be filming a vlog for not only this pay-per-view, but depending when you're watching this, I'll be filming a holiday vlog. December 25th is obviously Christmas. It actually kicks off Hanukkah as well. We got some family coming over. We do all the things, and we have some fun with it. So become a premium member at WeWantPicks.com. It's freaking $10, you cheap son of a bitch. You're spending $10 right now on some creeps only fan because her pictures of her feet looked real nice. Ooh, I love that toenail color on you. Here's $10, you pervert. You could spend that $10 on premium membership. Get ahead of the lines. Get yourself some winning bets, and then go get yourself a real life woman. Take her to Chili's. Take her to the Sizzler. Take her to a nice dinner with the winnings you made here. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Then after that, you could send us a thank you note. Hey guys, thank you so much. Instead of subscribing to this woman's OnlyFans, I went ahead and bought your premium membership. That premium membership helped me make enough money to take my wife out to the early bird special. Thank you so much, Joey. We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. Let's go ahead and break down this card. Listen, these are the best graphics in the game. You know that. I know. Everybody knows that. These are the best graphics in the game. What I also tried to do with the graphics is tailor them to the specific fight card, right? Each card has its own color theme. The UFC marketing team comes up with something, whatever. The color theme of this one, these are the exact colors. You see the orange on the left, the blue on the right. These are the exact colors used. Let's go back. I'll show you. Bang, 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 bang. These are the colors, right? Orange on the left, blue on the right. Bang, 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 bing. So I tried to mimic that. I don't love it. It looks great how the UFC did it. I don't love it on the graphic, but we stick with the themes and we plow forward. We got Tagir Ulanbekov, tried and true vet, taking on sort of young up-and-comer Clayton Carpenter. Tagir Ulanbekov, dominant come-forward wrestler. He's got decent striking. He's got a nice jab. Right behind that jab is a takedown attempt. All 4 of his UFC wins were grapple-heavy. 12 takedowns and 2 submissions. The only real complaint I have for Tagir is his takedown defense. We saw that get a little bit exposed when Tim Elliott fought him, and any other super high-level wrestlers may have the same success. He is coming off that canceled fight against Josh Van, which didn't happen because Tagir missed weight. He was holding his stomach. He was creeping off the stage, and then that whole fight got canceled. He's taking on young up-and-comer Clayton Carpenter. Clayton Carpenter's a slick grappler in his own right. He'll take wild chances hunting for submissions. He's a fast-paced guy. He rushes forward. He immediately sets that tone. He's always hunting for a finish, and even though he only has 8 fights as a professional, he's got a ton of competition experience. He was competing since he was a teenager all over the world. He's coming off that submission win over Lucas Rocha, where the wrestling and the control were great, but it was clear that this guy needs a little bit of striking. This is a fun matchup. I don't know what the fight order is going to be. We're breaking this down nice and early. If it kicks off the card, then it's going to set the tone for the rest of the card. Tagir is a massive step up compared to Clayton's previous opponents. But as I mentioned, Tagir can struggle with takedown defense. If Clayton comes in, if he sets the wrestling tone immediately, he can definitely have some success. The same exact success that Tim Elliott did. I do think Tagir, though, is a little too experienced, a little too well-rounded, and just a touch better everywhere. So Tagir is going to be the pick. These odds are super wide. You can see he's a minus 230 favorite. I do not think that's the appropriate line because we've seen Tagir get taken down, and we don't quite know how good Clayton Carpenter is yet. Breaking down undefeated guys is tough, especially young undefeated guys. If you get an undefeated guy like a John Jones, essentially, you get an undefeated guy like a Khabib later in their career, already fought some great people, then you can trust that, But you get these young up-and-comers, we might get a Walter Walker situation where he comes out looking like a bag of mashed potatoes and can't get a takedown. Or he can be Payton Talbott in the future. I don't know yet, so I'm probably going to avoid this fight. This line is way too far. If we were closer to even money, Tagir would make some sense. Maybe a plus 3.5. I have that circled here on my chart. If you don't know what that is, you're buying points on the judges' scorecard. You're betting the spread. If Clayton Carpenter can win one single round, I know I said Clayton Carpenter, I know I said that, and then I just pushed through so you didn't even notice. That's the key to all of this. You say it with Clayton Carpenter, and they just kept moving. Nobody noticed. Not a single person noticed. You still didn't notice. If Clayton Carpenter can win one single round, then we can do pretty well here. So we'll see when those props drop. Right now, Tagir's going to be the pick. These odds are pretty wide. Then we have the most boring fighter on the UFC roster, and I know he's just coming off a TKO win, and no, the guy's boring as shit. But he wins. Grant Dawson, and he is taking on Diego Ferreira. Grant Dawson, grappler. He averages about 4 takedowns per fight. Great ground game, absolutely relentless pressure. His striking is not very good, so his clear advantage in almost all of his fights is the wrestling, is the grappling. His pressure, his willingness to be a crotch-sniffing wrestler has afforded him quite a bit of success in the UFC. He is coming off that ground and pound win over Rafa Garcia, who he split open pretty badly. He's taking on Diego Ferreira. Diego Ferreira is a very good BJJ guy with some power in his hands. Even though he is a grappler, he's got some solid striking, surprisingly low takedown accuracy of 30%. His striking has evolved over the years, though. He's won some striking-only fights in the past. His takedown defense is 60%, but that is a bit skewed. He's fought some of the best wrestlers in this division, like Beneil Dariush, Gregor Gillespie, before he just disappeared in the thin air. Mateusz Gamrot. He's coming off that dogfight win over Mateusz Rebecki, where he was dropped. He was taken down 4 times, but he stayed tough, and he never stopped. And that grit is what makes this a little tricky to break down. Because when I originally saw this on paper, boom, Grant Dawson. Then you do the tape study. You start looking at it a little closer. It's a little bit of a different situation. Because Grant Dawson does just dive at crotches, and he can be boring as hell, and that gets him wins. It's not great for the fans, but it is great for his record and his wallet. He's a 3-1 favorite right now, so that means that everybody had that same initial reaction that I had. The problem with this matchup is that Grant Dawson is not a dog. He's not somebody who can push through the chaos to get out a win. He wins, and then he wins often, but it's fights that he can control, fights he can get to the ground where he can wrestle. Diego Ferreira will not let up for a second, even if he is taken down, like he was 4 times in his last fight. He's going to grind. He's going to dog. He's not going to stop. Grant Dawson is still going to be the pick because that wet blanket style and his absolute determination to be the most boring guy in the roster is actually good for people picking him here. But Diego Ferreira has no quit in him whatsoever. So Grant Dawson's going to be the pick. I don't think I'm going to bet on him at 3-1 odds. But what I do like is Diego Ferreira inside the distance, decision, no action. I did get burnt on that last fight when he somehow finished my guy Rafa Garcia. But I don't think that's going to happen here. Diego Ferreira is obviously very tough. We watched Rebecca drop him and it didn't matter. We watched Rebecca take him down and it didn't matter. So what that bet means is if Diego Ferreira can somehow finish Grant Dawson, which Bobby Green did with a dirty look, if Diego Ferreira can do more of the same, then we will go ahead and get paid. But if Grant Dawson just holds on his hips and lays on him, a little bit of dry humping, then we get our money back, full refund. So when that prop drops, I'll probably take a look at that. For now, Grant Dawson's going to be the pick. Then we got Ricky Turcios taking on Benardo Sopaj. This is a fight that was supposed to happen at UFC Vegas 100, but it was canceled after the weigh-ins because Ricky had some undisclosed medical issues. And it should be a really fun fight because Ricky Turcios is a very fun, high-pressure fighter. He's going to throw anything from anywhere. He's going to smile. He's going to come forward. He's going to have a good time. In half of his UFC fights, he landed more than 100 significant strikes, and that includes a loss. He doesn't have much to offer outside of just high volume, high pace because takedown accuracy kind of sucks. His 50% takedown defense sucks, but he's busy. He stays in your face. He's coming off that second-round submission loss to Shiwiwi, where he actually looked really good up until that submission. He's taking on Benardo Sopaj. Benardo Sopaj is a fast-paced, high-energy striker. He's got power for his size, incredible speed. He's constantly moving forward. He likes to stay light on his feet, dance around. When he sees his openings, he will explode into combinations. He'll even work down some takedowns. He has solid takedown defense, great hips, and we saw that solid takedown offense in his UFC debut against Vinicius Oliveira, where he was having a ton of success and then essentially was murdered against the cage. We saw in that debut that vicious knockout. And that's a problem, right? Because a knockout as bad as Benardo suffered in his last fight can permanently change the course of your career. You get knocked out that bad, even if you have a good chin, it might not fully recover. You need to take the time. Probably a year, honestly. And when this fight was originally booked about a month and a half, 2 months ago, it was a 7-month layoff. I didn't feel like that was long enough. By the time this fight happens, we're looking at 10 months. That layoff hopefully is okay. He's a young guy. Hopefully there's not permanent damage to that chin. So Benardo's going to have to be the pick. Ricky's not a super dangerous guy. He's just busy, active. So Benardo Sopaj is going to be the pick here. 3-1 situation as well. He probably should be a 3-1 situation or a 3-1 favorite. I was hoping we'd get some better odds here, but Benardo Sopaj is going to be the pick. He's literally the better fighter everywhere. I don't think Ricky's pace is going to be a problem here. Then we got Payton Talbott taking on Raoni Barcelos. Payton Talbott's everybody's favorite little hype train. Everybody's loving Payton Talbott. He's the future. He's the big deal. And maybe he is. This is certainly a step in the right direction to find out. Payton Talbott's a real prospect. The UFC is going to be looking to build him. He's a good-looking dude. He's got flashy style, fluid personal life, flashy striker, a lot of movement, lots of power. He is tall for this division. He fights using that length. He'll throw out 1-2s at an incredible pace. He'll find the big shots. He's got solid takedown defense. If he is taken down, he stays busy. He looks to work his way back up. He can be out-grappled, right? You dig around some regional fights. You watch the tape. You can see that. But with every fight in the UFC, the improvements are clear as well. He's coming off that quick knockout win over Yanis Yamori. He's taking on Raoni Barcelos. Raoni Barcelos is a guy that I've loved. I've been high on him in the past. But he is aging. He's incredibly well-rounded. He's a great fighter, but he can still get wins at this level even though he's about 87 years old. Striking-wise, he's got great low kicks, solid volume, and he sets a great pace. Wrestling-wise, 5-time Brazilian national champion. He averages around 2 takedowns per fight. He has an 85% takedown defense. He's good everywhere, but he's definitely slowing down with that age. He's coming off that bounce-back win over Christian Quinones, where we saw flashes of a younger Raoni. Payton's being billed as the next big thing. They're talking future champ status. And while he is very clearly skilled, he's not tested yet. 3 of his 4 wins are over people who don't belong in the UFC. And Raoni Barcelos is no slouch. The clearest path to victory here, to beating Payton, is the wrestling. And Raoni Barcelos has the wrestling credentials to do that. It's not completely insane here that Hani could have some success. But he is older. He is slowing down. That chin hasn't been there for a while. So Payton's going to be the pick. I am pretty confident in Payton to get it done. I just think we have a little ways to go before we're talking about Payton Talbott's the next big thing. Where's his title shot? And the UFC's doing it right. Sometimes the UFC does an amazing job of hyping somebody up, convincing us that somebody's the truth. Then they rush them, and then they get embarrassed. They seem to be doing the right thing here with Payton. Just let him kick the absolute shit out of people. If you watched WWE back in the day, or WCW, remember Goldberg, the wrestler? What was his streak? Like 120-0 or something absurd? And yeah, wrestling's fake. Sorry to break it to you. Wrestling's fake, so that was all scripted. But they set it up. They built him. They turned him into the biggest thing for a while. And it was because of that long winning streak. They can do the same here. We as fans, we get bloodthirsty. We don't go, he's ducking, do this, rush him. We need to fight this guy. And we want a ranked opponent. So we tend to push, and the UFC will throw people in a main event. Didn't we just see, Abus Magomedov get smoked by Sean Strickland way too early in his career? There's more than one hype train. Gaziv, didn't he get smoked by Rosenstruck way too early in his career? There's too many hype trains that get pushed too fast. I think the UFC should take their time, to the point where we're getting exhausted by how many absolute bums Payton Talbott has run through. And then we can build the kid up. He is young. There's no reason to rush him. He's marketable. And you know how we are. UFC fans could quite literally be some of the worst fans in sports. Soon as somebody loses, fraud check, loser, fraud check, knew this guy sucked, permanent fade. So you got to be careful building up some of these prospects, especially Payton. Payton's a little controversial. People do some digging, like, what? He paints his nails? What? What do you mean? This guy sucks. So Payton's very good. He wins this fight. He could definitely be a big deal in the future. I think the UFC should take their time, build him up the right way. Then we got Zach Reese taking on Sedriques Dumas. I've got an interesting relationship with Sedriques. I don't know the guy from a hole in the wall. But when he was the consensus underdog, everybody loved him against Nursultan Ruseboyev. I was like, guys, this guy kind of sucks. What are we talking about? This is the guy you love? And this rap sheet was insane. I think some of those arrests have been expunged, or he came out victorious. But it's like, this guy, this isn't the greatest guy on paper. What are we doing here? And then after his last win, which was a sloppy shit show, he was like, there's people on the internet. That's not he's not a redneck. I don't know why that was the accent. There's people on the internet talking about this and that. You don't know shit. Angelo, you're fat. He didn't quite say all that, but there was an undertone. We got Zach Reese. Massive guy for this division at 6'4". He uses all that size, all that strength in his fights. He's very well-rounded, mostly a powerful striker who can absolutely uncork. But he can wrestle as well. It's a bit inconsistent when he uses it, but he can wrestle. On the ground, he's got great BJJ from top and bottom. He'll use that length to wrap you up, but he does get a little too comfortable on bottom. He'll hang out, and he'll give up some minutes. He's coming off that decision win over Jose Medina, where he landed with power and then went in on the wrestling. You'll see that one loss. That was on me, guys. I threw him in the safety parlay against Cody Brundage. He had Cody in a triangle, and Cody literally power bombed him to blow up the safety parlay. But since then, we made some adjustments to the safety parlay, and I have hit 9 of the last 10. The only one I missed was a nice Chinese lady who almost died late in the 3rd round. Bang. Fell over like a tree. She's still, to this day, nobody's heard from her. She might have actually died. If you guys have heard from her, let us know. If not, it is what it is. Just survive another 2 minutes and we all love you. Anyway, back to this. Sedriques Dumas. Street fighter. He worked his way out of the streets into the UFC. And despite those origins as a street fighter, he doesn't brawl in the octagon. He tries to keep things technical. He tries to work in actual MMA techniques. He's trying to improve. He's not just coming in here like an old school Kimbo Slice trying to make it ugly. He's sort of closer to the path of Jorge Masvidal. Started as a street fighter, made his name there, built some notoriety, and then actually turned it into a real career with very real skills. He's got okay takedowns, okay kickboxing, and he uses those techniques well. He's got a good chin. We will see what happens when things get tough. He could potentially get in some hot water, but he is tough. He doesn't quit. He's coming off that decision win over Dennis Tululin, where he went in on the wrestling, but it was clear he just didn't know what to do with it. And I've been a vocal SD Dumas hater. I understand his popularity, his marketability, But in Octagon, the performances don't really match the persona. He's not very dangerous. He's not very skilled. While he is tough and while he is improving, and you got to give him all the credit in the world for trying to make the best of this opportunity, because that's what he's doing. He's just head down, working hard, moving forward, trying to win fights. And he's doing everything he can to win fights. He's not doing stupid things. He's not just going out there being reckless. So SD Dumas, as far as his MMA career is concerned, he's doing all the right things. So you got to give him credit there. He's improving. The problem is, I don't know if he's improving enough. Like, there's a giant hole in the grappling. He's got good jiu-jitsu, but the wrestling just isn't there offensively or defensively. I see Zach just being the better fighter. He's got power in his hands. He's big, he's strong, and he could just come forward, take SD down, and work from there. Zach Reese is a minus 180 favorite, and I think he gets it done. Frankly, I think he should be a minus 3, minus 400 favorite. And this isn't, oh, you just don't like SD, because I just complimented him. He's doing the right things with his career. He's trying to improve and make this an actual MMA career and not just sort of a sideshow type thing. So credit to SD Dumas for doing all the right things, but I think Zach Reese is actually very good. He got the win over Dennis Tululin because Dennis Tululin's also a pretty one-dimensional guy. Zach Reese is not one-dimensional. He's a multi-dimensional guy with power in his hands and good jiu-jitsu, good wrestling. So I think Zach Reese gets it done. And these odds certainly are going to move come fight night. Then we have Carol Rosa taking on Ailin Perez. Talked about you creeps paying for OnlyFans. I know you're buying hers. She's got to have the most popular OnlyFans in the space. How much is it? Is it $10? Is it more? Because premium membership is only $10. When you get that post-nut clarity, you're going to be like, damn it. If I just bought premium membership, I'd be able to see the bets. So become a premium member. Build up that wallet. Then go buy whatever creep nonsense you need to buy. Okay? That's the order of operation. Get the premium. Enable yourself. Get the tools. Learn. Get the bets. Build up a nice little base in your DraftKings account, your BetOnline account. Then go spend money on your perversions. We got Carol Rosa, busy striker. She's landing at almost 7 significant strikes per minute. She is willing to trade. Decision fighter, though, not very dangerous. Solid takedown offense, solid takedown defense. She has 12 takedowns in 10 UFC fights and a solid 68% takedown defense. She does not have a ton of power, but she's got plenty of cardio, plenty of pressure. She's coming off that win over Pani Khanzad, where she destroyed Pani's legs early and just flat out beat her up. Pani is no longer employed by the UFC. She's taking on Ailin Perez. Well-rounded fighter. She turned into a forward pressure wrestler. She's mostly grappling, but when she is striking, she's got a nice long jab. She uses it to plot forward, walk her opponents back. She uses her size, her strength to bully opponents to the ground. She's got trips, she's got drags. Once it hits the ground, she can be a little too aggressive at times and just fall off, but the pressure is unrelenting. She is coming off her first UFC finish win over Daria, and the last name's too ridiculous to try to pronounce. But if you remember, Ailin missed weight. Looked like she was shaking. Everybody's like, oh, so nervous. Then she gets the win, gets on the microphone and said, yeah, that was all an act. Like, I missed weight, but I wanted her to think I was weak so that she would be surprised when I showed up. I don't know how true that is, but that's what she said. It's early days. So I have no idea what's going to happen to these odds. Right now, Ailin Perez is a plus 136 underdog. When I saw Carol Rosa as the minus 162 favorite, I was like, what? Of course, she's the better striker, but if she cannot defend the takedowns, who cares how good the striking is? The last time Carol fought a very good wrestler was Sarah McMahon, and that went exactly as you would expect it to go. I think Ailin can get this done. I think she's the best underdog on this card, and as soon as I've got those odds on my sportsbook, I will bet it. DraftKings has it, I believe. I use BetOnline. They've got a bunch of fights. This one isn't there yet, but when it is, bingo bongo, Angelo's got a bet for Premium-O. I really was heading down the rhyme path there, and that didn't rhyme. But become a premium member, find out what I do and when I do it. Then we got Johnny Walker. Chinny-ass Jonathan Walker taking on Bogdan Guskov. Also, first of all, with a guy named Johnny Walker, would you assume he was a giant Brazilian? Johnny Walker sounds like two popped collars living in a beach town with boat shoes. Anyway, Johnny Walker. He's big, he's athletic. He's massive at light heavyweight at 6'6", fast, powerful, all the things. He's really fun to watch. He gets creative with his striking. He's unorthodox. He's dangerous. all the things. On paper, Johnny Walker can be that guy. In reality, he's got no chin. And you can't be that big, fun, creative striker in this division without a chin. And that is the problem here. He's coming off that second round KO loss to Volkan Ozdemir. Sorry, not second round. Second KO loss in a row. This time to Volkan Ozdemir. He's taking on Bogdan Guskov. This is where you nerds do those Anthony Smith jokes. Guys, clean up the jokes. Clean them up. This is I'm not even saying clean them up like they're dirty. I'll clean them up like be funny. These basic ass jokes. Hey, he looks like Anthony Smith. Get over it. Let's be funnier. He looks more like the gay bald dude in that show with the guy from SNL. Billy, Harry, William, what the hell's the name of that show? You know how you know I'm old? When you start doing that. The guy from The Thing. That's when you become old. What the hell's the name of that show? It's one Barry. I'm not that old. He looks like the gay dude in Barry. Anyway. He's going to take down Johnny Walker and have his way with him. No. All right, relax, Andrew Creep. Bogdan Guskov is a heavy-handed guy. He likes to come forward. He will throw big. He will mix things up. When he's striking, he's fast, and obviously there's some very real power there. He keeps his hands low, but he's got good enough footwork and nice combinations. If he doesn't get an early knockout or have enough success striking, he can work you to the cage and get takedowns. On top, he's patient. He's got control. He'll ride you out while striking, but not get overly aggressive. And he is coming off that big knockout win over Ryan Spann. If Bogdan cannot knock out Johnny Walker, then what the hell is going on here? First, I thought Johnny Walker was going to heavyweight. Wasn't that the whole thing? Am I making that up in my head? I thought he was going to heavyweight. I thought that was like the path for him. Second, the guy's got no chin. He's got all the skills, the physical capabilities, gifts from God with his athleticism, but he's got no chin. This line hasn't really moved much. Couple touches here, couple touches there. When I first saw it, Bogdan was a dog, quickly became a favorite, but again, it didn't go crazy. Couple of points. Bogdan's got to be the pick here. This is where I would normally, conservative Ange, say, this is a huge step up for Bogdan, so be careful. But he just knocked out Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann was also a huge step up. So while Bogdan is not the plus 100 dog that he was a few days ago, he is minus 120. I would not be surprised if come fight night, Bogdan Guskov is minus 180, minus 200. He should win. Very cut and dry situation here. Bogdan Guskov is going to be the Picorino. Then we have one of my favorite fighters to break down. One of my most confident fighters every single time he's on a card. Jailton Almeida. This guy is an absolute savage. He's taking on Sergey Spivak. And there's some similarities in their styles. They both want to come forward. They both want to get the fights to the ground, but they do it very, very differently. Jailton Almeida is a beast. He hasn't looked like a human being yet outside of hanging on to Curtis Blade's legs a little too long. Outside of that, he's coming forward, shooting takedowns, picking you up, slamming you down. He's absolutely massive. He's 6'3", so he's my height. Pow. Very similar builds as well. But he's huge. He's absolutely shredded at 6'3". He seems to have cardio. He's explosive. The striking's not amazing, but the wrestling is. He has only ever been to one single decision in the UFC. That was a dominant showcase that a lot of people think he was just doing for fun and not even trying to finish. He relentlessly works for takedowns. And because of that physicality, because of his strength, because of his speed, all that heavyweight, the success that this guy is having is absolutely insane. He just smoked Alexander Romanov, where he only needed one single takedown and 3 minutes to get it done. He's taking on another big Russian in Sergey Spivak. This guy's a heavyweight grappler. He's great on the ground, solid takedowns, just okay submissions, but he is a capable striker. He doesn't have knockout power. He does have a decent jab, though, and good volume. His biggest issue is control. The reason he's averaging as many takedowns as he is because he can't keep people down. He is coming off that first-round submission win, though, over Marcin Tybura. This is going to be a parlay-heavy fight card. UFC 311, the odds are honestly right for the most part. I keep saying some things are too wide, but for the most part, the favorites should be the favorites, the dogs should be the dogs, and the odds are where they should be. There's not a ton of value. Come fight week, I don't know what those odds are going to look like. They're probably going to be worse. So Jailton Almeida at minus 250 makes a ton of sense to me. He should be minus 250. He should probably be more than that. So you have a couple of choices when you bet on a minus 250 favorite. You can go prop hunting, which I don't recommend for heavyweights, but you can go prop hunting, or you can lay out $250 to win $100, or you can parlay. I think Jailton Almeida should be parlayed. I'm very confident in him to get the win. I think he just ragdolled Sergey Spivak. Yeah, Sergey's got good jiu-jitsu, but he's not going to submit Jailton Almeida. He's not going to be able to defend the takedowns, and he's not going to shoot first. Anytime we get wrestler versus wrestler, lots of times it comes down to who shoots first. It's going to be Jailton Almeida. Look at the striking differential. Lands 2.46, is hit with less than 1. That's not because he's such a phenomenal striker. He's not out there Roy Jones Jr.ing. It's because he's shooting takedowns in a half a second. So he's going to take down Sergey Spivak in less than 30 seconds and then just dominate on top. And I think you can parlay him to make some solid money here. Don't do the ridiculous 19-leg parlays, and I got to see in the comments section, I bet 88 cents to win $100,000 and I was only one pick away. I parlayed a plus 900 dog. How did it miss? None of that bullshit. Slow and steady wins. The reason we dominated 2024 is slow and steady. Couple of units profit a week, every week, consistently. Nothing wild. Parlay Jailton Almeida, but pick one other person. Nice two-fighter parlay. It's still heavyweights. It's still fist fighting. Anything can happen. What the hell are the balloons? What did I hold up that the balloons happened? That's a sign from the heavens. Parlay him with somebody else. Maybe Rinya Nakamura. We got Rinya Nakamura taking on Muin Gafurov. Rinya Nakamura, right now this is listed as the featured prelim. God, who knows what the hell's going to happen in this fight card. But we got Rinya. Minus 345 favorite. He's looked at. He's undefeated in his career. High-level wrestler. He's got high-level wrestling credentials. So not just a UFC wrestler, an actual wrestler in real life that's traveled the world competing. He's got incredible submissions as well, but he's not desperate. He's got great power. He lets that fly. His striking can be wild, but because he's so confident in his wrestling, he doesn't really care if you're going to shoot a takedown when he overcommits on a strike. He's the real deal. 9 wins, 6 stoppages. Combination of high-level wrestling matched with genuine power. That can be an issue for a lot of people in this division. He's coming off that straightforward wrestling win over Carlos Rivera. I don't know. How you rolling on a V is no idea. Taking on Muin Gafurov. He's also a wrestler. He's going to plant his feet and trade punch for punch with anybody. He's incredibly exciting, very high pace, has some solid skills. His power is in his hands. His wrestling is there. He's got good speed, good cardio, but he does get sucked into brawls. And then he loses complete control of the fight. He's coming off that first UFC win after a surprisingly tough UFC slate for a newcomer. He just beat Kyung Ho Kang, but it was clear the wrestling is not as good as we thought. And this is a pretty straightforward pick because of that with a tough money line. Muin was a bit exposed in his last fight. Nothing crazy. We saw the toughness, but the wrestling wasn't there. Certainly not the wrestling that we thought we were going to get from a Tajik. Kang was able to take him down 3 times, and if Kang can do it, Rinya can do it. Rinya's the pick. Probably safe to parlay. Smash him up with Jailton Almeida. Get yourself a grappler's delight. Before we go ahead and hit this main card, let me hit your wallet with $50. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use any of the affiliate links. Sign up, make a deposit. We'll send you $50. And that's all this is affiliate marketing. You're going to use the link. You'll make an account. You'll make a deposit. They're going to pay me commission because you use the link. And then I'm going to slice off some of that money and give it right back to you. Very simple. WeWantPicks.com/bets. You can use that money to become a premium member. And when you're a premium member, you can access everything in the app. The app is 100% free to download. You get yourself some push notifications. You can see all the picks, the bets, the tools. You can use everything from the website in the app. Just search the App Store for We Want Picks. Download it. We're closing in on 2,000 downloads for an app that's only existed for a week and a half. Check it out now and give us feedback, right? It's a constant evolution. The feedback so far has been unbelievable. So check out the app, poke around, let us know what you think, and we're going to continue to expand on it like we do with everything else. Here's the streak that we're on. Safety Parlay is absolutely crushing, so become that premium member. Download the app. Check out the Safety Parlay. 9 of the last 10, 69% ROI, and I don't intend on stopping anytime soon. Last year around this time, I think we were on a similar streak. I think I had 9 in a row, and that was towards the end of 2024, clean into 2025. So the break doesn't derail anything, especially when you're Big Ange and you're sitting here breaking down fights week in and week out anyway. And if you want to send something, here's the address. We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. We read the letters. We do all the things. Every single pay-per-view, we film a vlog. The vlogs are different content. And I get some of you here, just shut up and give me the picks. All right. Fast forward then, you goblin. Become a premium member. You don't even have to watch the damn video. All the picks are listed there. But if you do just enjoy us and want a little peek into our actual personal lives, the vlogs are great for that. It's literally me with my family. The boys come over to watch fights, whatever the hell we do that day, we do that way. The UFC 310 vlog had a little bit of training. You can see Big Ange's takedowns. Check out those vlogs, and if you want to send something for us to read or feature in a future vlog, here is the address, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. Let's go ahead and break down this main card. The order's going to change, but I am positive Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano will be on this main card. I'm also positive this is a very good fight. And the last comment is the main card of UFC 311 is much harder to break down than the prelims. The prelims were pretty straightforward to me. All those fights I just broke down, pretty confident in every single one of those picks. The main card, this is where things are going to get dicey. And this is exactly one of those fights. Just 2 years ago, you people were going on and on. Beneil Dariush, the greatest guy in the world. Yeah, he looks like a handsome suburban dad. But everybody's talking about the best jiu-jitsu, the greatest hand. Beneil Dariush. Then he loses a couple in a row at the highest possible level to a former champ and the guy in this main event. And everybody's like, Beneil Dariush sucks. Renato Moicano, who was a journeyman just a year ago, Renato Moicano, who was almost unconscious from Jalen Turner, is going to smoke Beneil Dariush? Maybe. We're about to break it down. But that's how quick narratives change in this sport. 12 months ago, if I polled the world who's winning between Beneil Dariush and Renato Moicano, it would be overwhelmingly in Beneil Dariush's favor. And the only thing that's changed is Renato Moicano almost got finished and beat Jalen Turner, and then caught a kick and beat Benoit Saint-Denis. And on the other side, Beneil Dariush lost to the number 2 and number 3 guys on the planet. That's it. Those are the only thing that's changed. And isn't that what's supposed to happen? Meaning Beneil Dariush is what? Ranked number 5 in the world? In theory, 5 should lose to 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and break it down. I don't know why. I don't know what triggered that rant. But we're going to go ahead and break it down anyway. Beneil Dariush, as I implied, very good grappler. World-level grappling. BJJ no-gi world champion, which is far more important for MMA than the bathrobe. We've seen him beat people with grappling. We've seen him have incredible success with his hands. Look, we did to Tony Ferguson, Diego Ferreira. He's striking with people like Scott Holtzman, James Vick. Perennial contender. He did just lose to a couple of very highly ranked people in the world, but the reality is Beneil Dariush is a very, very good fighter. He's taking on Renato Moicano. Also a very good fighter. He's got a BJJ black belt. Technical striker. He doesn't really have stoppage power on his feet, but he does have good volume, sets a nice pace. His chin's a bit shaky. We've seen that in many, many fights, but he's tough, and he grinds through it. He averages almost 2 takedowns per fight, a 45% takedown accuracy, but he doesn't have the cleanest takedowns. He usually just ends up clinching or dragging people to the ground. He's coming off that come-from-behind win at UFC 300, where Jalen Turner had this dude 99% knocked out, and if Jalen Turner threw one more punch, he wins that fight. Instead, he wanted the walk-off highlight, wanted to look like the cool guy, and then he had an adrenaline dump, and it changed the entire dynamic of that fight. This is a tough fight to pick. I disagree with how wide these odds are. Nobody in this fight, on either side, should be more than a 2-1 favorite. Nobody. I understand Moicano being the favorite. I do get that. He's surging right now. Beneil's on a skid. They're literally on opposite sides of the trajectory. But if you go skill for skill in this matchup, these odds are insane. Beneil has some of the literal best takedown defense I have ever seen. Go watch the ridiculous scrambles when he fought Gamrot. He also has great hands and some power. Moicano, whoa. I had a stroke. I got so fired up, I had a stroke halfway through saying Moicano. While Moicano is winning some fights and he's got some solid grappling, taking down Beneil is going to be much different than taking down Jalen Turner, who almost killed him. And I was going to go through all of this and then still be like, but I'm going to pick Moicano anyway. But I'm not. I'm going to go with Beneil Dariush. I'm going the other way. He's a dog. Let's hope that there's some peak form here. He's not 1 foot out the door. He's much younger than he looks. These guys are the same age. Don't let that beautiful, thick gray hair fool you. They are the same age. But Beneil is going to be the underdog pick here. And we'll see what happens. I am curious. The hate I'm going to get in the comments is wild. Because just last year, when I'm picking against Beneil Dariush, I'm getting hate. Now I'm picking him, and I'm going to get hate as well. And that is a window into MMA fans. The most fair weather fans. And that's all of us. So I'm not shitting on you guys. I'm shitting on me too. We all do it. You're only as good as your last fight. But I'm zooming out, baby. Zooming out. Another really close matchup in Kevin Holland taking on Renier de Reder. Kevin Holland, as we all know, accurate striker, powerful. He has struggled with takedown defense in the past, but he's got very good grappling if he is taken down. Other than the wrestling defense, Kevin's a problem for a lot of people. He can be a sniper on the feet, good accuracy, good range. He can grapple, as I mentioned. He can be competitive on the ground with that length. He is coming off that loss to Roman Dolidze, where if the only thing you do is look at topology and look at green and red dots, you're going to see it was a TKO loss. But he was taken down. When he was taken down, he broke his rib, and then that was the end of that. He's taking on Renier de Reder, former 2-division world champion in 1FC. He's a solid grappler, good takedowns, great submissions. He's also very tall at 6'4", and he uses all that length on his feet and on the ground. He will strike. It's not very clean. He definitely thrives on the ground, seems a bit out of sorts on the feet at times. In fact, that is how he lost both his 1FC belts. He could not get the takedowns and just could not hang on the feet with a much more powerful striker. He's coming off that submission win over Gerald Meerschaert in his UFC debut. I love Kevin Holland. And I know that whole narrative of Kevin Holland's takedown defense sucks is a few years old. That's not a narrative that's popped up recently. That was a couple years ago. That's all anybody could talk about. But the only reason it's an old narrative is because he hasn't fought a wrestler. When he was losing to Brunson and Vettori, it was all anybody could talk about, how bad Kevin Holland's takedown defense. Daniel Cormier even offered to fly him out to American Kickboxing Academy so he could help him. Since then, though, the only true wrestlers he fought were Hamzat, which that is what it is, and Michael Chiesa, who's, mediocre in the wrestling. I still think the takedown defense is questionable, and because of that, I have to pick against him. Kevin is light years better at the striking, but Renier is huge, and he can grapple. My only real concern for Renier is that he's actually too aggressive. He was going wild with Jaron Meerschaert, doing all sorts of dumb shit. Taking risks he didn't need to take. Yes, he ultimately got the submission, but what the hell are you doing? Dude, get the takedown, stay composed, stop doing weirdo shit. Kevin Holland is also a black belt. So I'm going to pick Renier literally because I'm still questioning Kevin Holland's takedown defense, but I'm not betting on this fight. Kevin Holland has incredible striking, good jiu-jitsu. It's the wrestling that's a problem. If Renier can take him down and just hang out, not do dumb shit, not give up positions, then Renier de Reder wins a clear, straightforward fight. I don't know if he's going to do that because we saw him do dumb shit against Gerald, but for now, I just got to stick with the guy that I think can get the takedowns. Then we have the featured fight of the night. Jiri Prochazka taking on Jamahal Hill. And we're classy here. We're a classy bunch. I mentioned earlier, when we're not classy, at least we're clever. Right? I'm done with the basic bitch jokes. I'm done with it. So be classy or be clever. Be one of those two things. Anybody with the basic white chick, both of Alex's sons, those comments are lame. Be clever. Be clever. I can't be clever for you. You can be clever. But any Alex's sons, Alex's kids, that's dumb and lame. Be clever. There's much better ways to make fun of Jamahal Hill. Much better ways. The guy is so unlikable. Get clever with it. Alex's sons. Lame. Anyway, we got Jiri Prochazka, one of Alex's sons, taking on Jamahal Hill, Alex's other son. Jiri Prochazka, former light heavyweight champion of the world. He's a crazy person. We know that. He's fun to watch. He's always bringing a fight. He's a dangerous striker. Pretty much all 30 of his wins are by knockout. He comes forward, swings wild, doesn't have the best technique in the world, but he's got power, he's got aggression, and he won't quit unless his brain shuts off. Unfortunately for him, in his last fight, his brain did shut off. And that's because this guy is hit with more strikes than he hits other people. And at this division, at light heavyweight, you cannot be hit more than you hit other people. Jiri Prochazka is a ton of fun, hits hard as hell, but he is coming off that second knockout loss to Alex Pereira, this time with a wild head kick. He's taking on Jamahal Hill. Jamahal Hill is also a former light heavyweight champion of the world. He had to relinquish his title when he blew out his Achilles playing basketball, so he did not technically lose his belt. He's a tall, rangy striker. He comes forward, he picks his shots really well. He's got an incredible striking differential of about 7-3, meaning he's got high volume, and he more than doubles the times he hits his opponent versus him getting hit. He's got great accuracy, and that makes him a threat on the feet. He's got a 73% takedown defense, which he might not need in this fight, but it is there. He's coming off the iconic knockout loss to Alex Pereira at UFC 300. And I get it. Jamahal Hill is brutal. This guy is delusional. He's cringy. He is wildly unpopular. It should be studied how quickly this guy went from a fan favorite to one of the most disliked guys in the UFC. It's insane. He's a flailing meme that cannot let his loss go. But with all of that being said, he is still good. His striking is accurate. His takedown defense is very good. And outside of the Alex Pereira fight, he seemingly has a solid chin. And I think Jamahal wins here. Jiri is just way too hittable. And if you look closer, Jiri is probably 0-4 in his last 4 fights. He beat Glover with a submission in the 5th round. There was only 30 seconds left. He was very clearly losing that fight. If Glover had this much more cardio, that's a loss. Then he somehow beats Ratchik after getting smoked early. And he lost to Alex the other 2 times. And I love Jiri, but getting hit and then hitting your opponent is not a strategy that's going to work forever. Certainly not at these weight classes. Certainly not later in your career. Certainly not after your brains have been scrambled more than one time. Jamahal Hill's going to have to be the pick. Him at dog money might be some solid money here. I'm surprised. I'd be curious to hear from you guys. Outside of Jamahal Hill being a cringy, absolute, just card wreck of a personality, skill for skill, he's better than Jiri. Jiri's not that good. He's insanely tough. He's kind of crazy, but he's not that good. Alexander Ratchik lit this dude up, and Jiri was just tough. Glover lit him up, and Jiri was just tough. And then Alex finished him twice. I'm going to have to go with Jamahal. I'm going to keep an eye on this line. If we can get some better odds, I'll get better odds. If it starts to go back the other way, I'm going to hit it. I think Jamahal Hill gets it done. And if you want more Jamahal Hill rant, I filmed a hot take, just absolutely dogging this dude. And it sucks because he's a likable guy that's got good skills. And then all of a sudden, becomes an unlikable guy that still has good skills. Then we have a very good co-main and main event. Both of these are title fights. Both of them are very good matchups. We got Merab Dvalishvili taking on Umar Nurmagomedov. Merab defending his belt for the very first time. And as we know, this guy is a non-stop chain wrestler. Striking is just okay. Cardio is insane. He times his takedowns really well, and if he doesn't, who cares? There's another takedown right behind it. He averages an insane 6 takedowns per 15 minutes. His last loss was in 2018 to Ricky Simone, where he still took him down 6 times. The gas tank is nuts. His willingness to stick to that game plan is tried and true, so you can trust what he's going to do. There's no surprises come fight night. He does have a bit of a suspect chin. We see him get dropped in fights like Henry Cejudo. And he wasn't technically dropped, but he was wobbled there. He's taking on Umar Nurmagomedov. He's exactly the type of guy you would expect him to be with that last name. He's got 6 fights in the UFC with 15 takedowns, 31 minutes of control time, 2 submission wins, and 2 standing knockouts, if not maybe just 1. He uses kicks really well to stay out of range. Then he comes charging in with his wrestling, and he looks for takedowns. If he misses the first, there's another one right behind it. He's got amazing chain wrestling. He's coming off the main event win over Corey Sandhagen, where the striking was actually on full display. And if you asked me a week ago who wins this fight, I probably would have been a little wishy-washy. 2 high-level wrestlers, when they go at it, I mentioned this earlier, a lot of times it comes down to who shoots first. It's easier to finish a takedown than defend one, certainly at a high level. But this past week, we started to get all the content from Khabib and Islam hanging out with Demetrius Johnson. Watching those clips, while not directly related to Umar, is actually pretty insane. You get a real view into Khabib, that fight camp, what he is as a coach, and there is literally no fun in that fight camp. It is 100% business. At one point, Demetrius was talking about Abubakar and how they used to play online video games and whatever the hell. And Khabib was like, yeah, he's not online anymore. And DJ was like, yeah, why isn't he online anymore? And Khabib's like, we smashed his computer. So because this guy was having some fun playing video games online and not training as much as they thought he should, he got a loss. They smashed his computer, removed the only fun that guy had in his life. And while training with that crew is probably a miserable nightmare, they are very, very serious people. Umar is obviously a very skilled fighter. He's probably the better pure wrestler. He's certainly the better striker. And now we know there's zero distractions whatsoever. I got to go with Umar here. He's going to be the pick. But if he is on his back foot the whole time, things could get very, very interesting. Betting is going to be an interesting situation here. I'm confident. I think he's going to win. But again, at a certain point, it's going to come down to who shoots first. And we know that's probably going to be Merab. Then we have the main event of the evening. Islam Makhachev defending his belt against Arman Tsarukyan. This is also a rematch. This is a rematch from 2019. It was the first and only time Islam has been taken down. It was also a 22-year-old Arman Tsarukyan's UFC debut. So we got Islam, the dominant lightweight champion of the world. Insane wrestler, very good hands. The grappling is aggressive. He's always looking to advance, to punish, to finish. He's not just camping out. He averages a little more than 3 takedowns per fight, and while that number seems low, we just talked about a couple of much higher numbers than that in the Merab fight, but that number's low because Islam doesn't let you up. You get taken down, you stay down. There's potentially a finish there, but if not, he's riding you out. Islam Makhachev is good literally everywhere. The wrestling is insane. The striking is very good. His physical size is nuts. He's massive for this weight class. He's also coming off that fun win over Dustin Poirier. He's taking on Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan is an incredible wrestler in his own right. He's managed to piece together a very nice striking game as well. He uses good footwork that sets up his strikes and his takedowns. He's athletic. He'll mix in kicks very fluidly. He's this new generation of lightweight where he's got the beast wrestling. He's got the good striking. You don't necessarily know which one he's going to use. He's not as much of a come-forward wrestler as some of the other guys in the division. He is coming off that win over Charles Oliveira where he got the takedowns, managed to stay safe despite a few submission scares. And I've mentioned this before when I break down rematches. When I look at a rematch, I look at what's changed since the first fight. If nothing's changed, then it's the same fight. In this case, a few things have changed. While both fighters have obviously improved, I think Arman's striking improvements are probably a little more pronounced. I also think the fact that Arman was so young in that fight, and it was his UFC debut, are a couple of factors. So I'm actually going to throw their first fight out the window. I don't think it's a factor here. But I'm going to end up with the same result. If I'm breaking down this fight objectively, I still don't think Arman can win. Islam is just too big, too good of a wrestler. So Islam's going to be the pick. Arman may have some success. We may get some really cool high-level grappling exchanges, but we saw Islam. We've seen Islam fight everybody at every level and look very good doing it. Islam publicly came out this week, said his toughest fight was actually the first fight against Alexander Volkanovski. And what happened when they rematched? It was a very different fight. He learned from that, made the adjustments, came back. I think Islam Makhachev knows how good of a wrestler Arman is, especially considering he's the first person to take him down. And I think he's going to come more prepared than ever. I think Islam Makhachev absolutely gets it done. He is a minus 340 favorite, which seems okay. Once you get past 4-1, things are going to get a little weird here. Guys, that is the breakdown. We got a bunch of bets on the board. Week off, no week off. If you're watching this with your family at Christmas or Hanukkah, doing all the things, well, I hope you have a nice holiday. If you're watching this after the fact, what the hell took you so long? We got a bunch of bets on the board right now already for UFC Vegas 101, for UFC 311. There are more to come every single day. So download the app. Make sure you get the alerts. If you don't have the app, no big deal. You still have access to all the picks, all the bets, all the tools. Become a premium member right now. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's freaking $10. The amount of things you waste $10 on is absolute insanity. Why don't you spend it on something you enjoy? WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Immediately unlock the bets, the picks, the tools. You have the data analyzer fully loaded, ready to go with future events. You get the line movement tracker so you can monitor these odds as they go up and down before fight night. You're going to get the prop hunter, giving you everything you need for your significant strike props, your takedown props, your fight minute props, your round props, everything you could ever want or need heading into a fight week, including a dude from New Zealand that's breaking down non-UFC fights and a robot picking at an incredible accuracy. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's $10 for an entire month. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate every last one of you. I cannot be more genuine in that. This channel's success, the growth, watching all of it happen brings me insane joy. It has become a part of my self-worth, and that's not healthy, honestly. This YouTube channel should not be tied to my self-worth, but it is. Watching these numbers go up is unbelievable. Watching the numbers dip a little bit in a week off, that gives me insane anxiety and agita. But we're going to move forward. And I'm going to do what I do every single freaking week. And I appreciate you for being here. Thank you all so incredibly much. Enjoy your families. Stay healthy. I'll see you next week for another breakdown. It's going to be the Israel Adesanya Nasruddin Imavov fight.